It is so obvious why people love Russell Westbrook. This man is worth at least $300 million, probably closer to $500 million, but instead of just chilling on his yacht, he is shooting hoops preparing for the season. And all he's gonna get is like a veteran's minimum, okay? He's not doing this for the money, it's for the love of the game. But right now, the game don't love him. No NBA teams have called to sign Russell Westbrook. He might go into the season without a team as a Hall of Famer who gave us the best technical foul of last season. Hung on the rim, told his old team to go home. Entertaining as hell, so what is going on? Well, Russ is suffering from the Hall of Famer paradox that we saw with both Carmelo Anthony and Allen Iverson. How's that? Well, before we explain, there is one team who might want to sign Russ. The Sacramento Kings have interests, but they don't have a roster spot. Now, if they can trade either Malik Monk or Devin Carter, they can add Russ. But why? The most Kings move ever. They're like the Chicago Bulls of the West. An average to bad team that refuses to pick a direction. Like right now, they're built around win now players in their prime or just past it, like Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis, projected to finish 12th next year according to ESPN. Like the Kings saw LaVine and DeRozan not get past the first round in Chicago, and they were like, yeah, let's try that in the West. And 3 years older, I'm sure that'll work out. And the fix to that is to sign 37-year-old Russell Westbrook. Now, I am a fan of Russ actually waiting for the season to start and letting teams come to him. For example, teams with an open roster spot right now include the Warriors, Knicks, Sixers, and Timberwolves. What if Minnesota sees that Rob Dillingham isn't ready to back up Mike Conley full-time at point guard? Or what if one of those other teams has an injury and needs point guard depth? But the elephant in the room is the Denver Nuggets. I mean, last year, he was great. As predicted, Nikola Jokic did wonders for Russ last year. He averaged 13 and 6 assists, getting votes for 6th man of the year. Russ even made a big shot to send Game 1 to OT against the Clippers and made the pass to Aaron Gordon to win. But after the season, dude turned down a $3.5 million player option. And Denver said, well, you ain't gonna get a better deal from us, so good luck out there on the open market, buddy. But why? Well, we know that Russ is not super efficient, not great on defense, but the Nuggets learned something else about Westbrook. For every amazing play that he had in that first round, dude had like 2 or 3 terrible ones. In fact, against the Thunder in the second round, Russ had a -92 plus minus. His stats were 10 points a game, 2 assists, and 3 turnovers. Shot 35% from the field, 22% from 3. See, Russ might be labeled as a 6th man, but that is impossible for a guy like him. Whenever Russ is on the court, everybody knows it, okay? He is super involved in every single play, good or bad. Doesn't have the DNA to be a role player 6th man, which is good when you don't have depth. Like the plan last year for the Nuggets was like, hey, Russ runs that second unit, let him cook. But what if you have options and depth? Well, Russ ain't that guy. So this offseason, the Nuggets sent out Michael Porter Jr., Dario Saric, but in Cam Johnson, Bruce Brown, Jonas Valanciunas, and Tim Hardaway Jr. So they got deeper and do not need Russ anymore. But that's not even to mention the fight that Russ had with Aaron Gordon. Do you remember after Clippers Game 2, an ESPN report came out saying there was a heated exchange in the locker room? Gordon challenged Russ about his attitude, and when asked, one player relayed why Gordon might have done so. He's just so immature, the player said of Westbrook. Wow. Now after that, Gordon did come out on camera to defend Russ to the media.
Russ is one of the most talented basketball players that has ever played the game of basketball. But that conversation wasn't for anybody other than our own group.
But notice there, he didn't deny what the article actually reported. He just said it was unfair. And I agree. I mean, ESPN probably wrote that just to get clicks and stoke controversy. But the fact remains, there was a personality conflict, and another teammate then called Russ out behind his back. But that's the thing. Even if Russ is called the 6th man, he is unlike every 6th man in the league, on the court and in the locker room. This dude just has alpha number one type energy. And that's not what you need from a role player. So the way Russ is going out looks a lot like two other players. The first is Allen Iverson. He was still a force and a cultural icon in his 30s, but once his explosiveness faded, he wouldn't accept a lesser role. So dude landed on the Nuggets and the Pistons and the Grizzlies. It was a messy, painful exit. The other guy is Carmelo Anthony, a 10-time All-Star, but once his defense and ball movement didn't match the modern NBA, he also struggled in a lesser role and became toxic. In fact, for a full year, no team would touch Melo, not because he couldn't score, but because he didn't fit. The difference with Russ, he has accepted a lesser role, but his style doesn't fit as a role player. He's too much of a force. So the Hall of Famer paradox is a guy who is too good to be considered done, but too complicated to keep around. But what's really crazy is the NBA's perception of Russ actually started a long time ago. Have you ever wondered how Russ went from like consensus superstar to a guy you can't win with basically overnight? Like, how did that happen so fast? Well, Russ's reputation was linked with Kevin Durant his first 8 years in the NBA. During that time, Russ won Rookie of the Year, All-Star 5 times, and made the NBA Finals. But once KD left for Golden State, Russ got exposed. And one of the first people that I can remember saying this out loud was Colin Cowherd, a radio guy at ESPN.
He is the convertible sports car of the NBA. He's glamorous, he's sexy, he's eye-popping. But I believe he can be incredibly ineffective when it matters. Don't just read the stats, fanboy. Watch Westbrook in crisis, in big games. This is what I've said about John Wall.
Whoa, is that spicy? And at the time, that was considered out of pocket. But a few years later, everybody was talking like that. It was common knowledge about Russ. And speaking of Colin Cowherd, that dude also did the exact same thing with Carmelo Anthony years before.
He can't run from who he is. A ball hog.
Wow, I am telling you, at the time in 2013, saying that was against the grain. So the narrative around Russ started to shift after KD left the Thunder. People pushed back just like they did around Carmelo, but as the years went on, the stats and facts proved it. Like, forget about narrative, look at the facts. And the fact is that the Thunder traded Russ to start their rebuild in 2019. Since then, he has been on 5 different teams, about to be 6. Never stuck in one place more than 2 years. And since KD left him, Russ has 7 first-round exits and only made it past the first round 2 times. So Russ went from a collapse in results and narrative ever since KD left him in 2016. And now, for the first time in his Hall of Fame career, the NBA might be ready to move on too. But speaking of careers ending, have you heard of the NBA starter in his prime who just walked away from the game? Even gave back millions to his team so he could quit the NBA. It is one of the wildest stories in recent NBA history because almost nobody could imagine making that decision. So why did Larry Sanders suddenly quit the league? Plenty of people speculated, but when the truth came out, it flipped the entire story upside down.